you find a land where the bones of nature are laid bare. Where jagged mountain peaks are now mere relics of the first mountains to evolve on Earth. Where a glistening, glaring white sheet of salt stretches 9,000 square kilometers across the driest land on Earth. Where in the world would you find a desert plain through which weaves a mighty river, creating a fertile mosaic of wildlife sanctuaries and natural lakes? Where would you find a labyrinth of limestone caves, revealing a breathtaking glimpse of nature at her most creative? And where in the world would you find a pristine coastline, where spectacular plumes of vapor trumpet the arrival of great creatures to its shores? Where in the world would you expect to find a place of such beauty and contrast? Only in one place: magnificent South Australia. The rugged coastline of South Australia's southeast is a unique area, a mosaic of mysterious beauty and natural wonder. The waters of the Great Southern Ocean are a fisherman's paradise. Tranquil coastal villages, historic remnants of once thriving wool and grain ports, now harbour fishing fleets whose main catch is the succulent Southern Ocean lobster. Greatly prized as holiday destinations, these picturesque towns retain an aura of old-world grace and charm. But the serenity of these quaint coastal towns and secluded beaches belies the southeast's turbulent origins. Thrusting out of the flat plains that sweep inland is Mount Gambier, a once seething volcano that erupted with gigantic explosions. Last active more than 5,000 years ago, the volcano's craters are now disturbed only by sounds of nestling birds and leaves rustling in the winds. Best known of the craters is the Blue Lake. Every year with the coming of summer, its grey-green waters mysteriously transform to a vivid cobalt blue, a puzzling phenomenon that scientists now believe is related to the absorption of calcite particles from limestone rock upon which the region rests. Nestling on the crater's rim is South Australia's third largest city, Mount Gambier, thriving focal point of the southeast. The Mount, as it's affectionately known, is renowned for its magnificent parks and unusual gardens set within the protective walls of limestone caves. With their exquisite terraced gardens, some of these exposed, craggy chambers have become favorite picnic spots for the locals. Beneath the southeast's fertile soil, limestone caves create a magical underground world of extraordinary beauty. Fossil discoveries of world importance have drawn scientific attention to these ancient chambers, with bone remnants dating back as far as the Ice Age, more than 2 million years ago. An area of diverse natural beauty, the southeast is also home to one of the largest freshwater wetlands in South Australia. This lagoon provides drought refuge for nearly 100 species of birds and has become an important breeding ground for rare and endangered species. Within this delightful setting, the oldest town in the southeast, Penola, still cherishes its historical inheritance. Preserved on the corner of Petticoat Lane is the schoolhouse where the woman destined to become Australia's first saint carried out her noble work. Living in modest accommodation at the rear of the schoolhouse, Mother Mary MacKillop devoted her life to teaching the children of early settlers, establishing the first school open to children regardless of income or social class, and selflessly striving to provide a basic education for all. Alongside the Josephite Schoolhouse in Petticoat Lane are the historic homes of those early settlers, humble cottages reflecting a pioneering spirit of bygone days. A spirit which took advantage of the southeast's fertile soils to create a rich cattle and dairy industry. A spirit which saw the establishment of extensive pine plantations that now cover more than 70,000 hectares. A spirit which still continues today, and along with the farming and fishing industries has transformed the southeast into one of the most productive and vital regions of South Australia. In this, the driest state of the Australian continent, water is the most precious commodity. Majestic and mighty, the Murray River brings relief to the parched plains of South Australia, a silver thread of life winding through sun-baked soil. Billabongs, lagoons and swamps teem with an abundance of wildlife. Life that would have vanished long ago without the Murray's flooding waters. The Murray River provided a valuable transport advantage over lumbering drays and bullocks, and before long, hundreds of paddle steamers were ferrying wool, grain and gold from Victoria, giving rise to a golden age of riverboat history. Small river settlements blossomed into thriving inland cities as busy wharves echoed with the sounds of prosperity, their timber beams straining with the weight of heavy cargo and the trampling feet of bustling travellers. The pioneering days of paddle steamers have long since passed. but the stately river towns on the banks of the Murray have continued to prosper, seeking new ways to harvest the river. The establishment of a vast network of pumping stations and irrigation systems has injected a fresh life into the earth, creating one of the most productive fruit-growing regions in Australia. With much of this citrus bonanza being exported to overseas markets, it's rightly boasted that the harnessing of the Murray's water has created a fruit bowl for the world. But never far away from the hustle and bustle of industry are the quiet, meandering waters of the Murray. Waters that seem to have captured within their currents the tranquility and beauty of nature. And like a shimmering mirror, reflecting on the mind, a lasting image of one of Australia's greatest natural resources. It has been said the ancient landscape of South Australia's Flinders Ranges are the bones of nature laid bare. The range comprises 480 sweeping kilometres of eroded quartzite and granite outcrops, some areas dating back nearly 2 billion years. This captivating but unforgiving environment is a cemetery for life's beginnings. Within its lonely valleys, glacial rocks and rippled sandstone are all that remains of vast ancient seabeds that drenched Australia more than 700 million years ago. Although modest in size, the ranges are impressive in character. One of the most majestic structures is Wilpena Pound, a magnificent natural amphitheatre. Travelling along its escarpment leads to the craggy heights of St Mary's Peak. From here, the highest pinnacle of the Pound, rows of ranges march off into the outback haze. There's no sense of order here, only mysterious ravines and enigmatic conformations that have puzzled geologists endlessly. A landscape bent, buckled, and extruded in a frenzy of Cambrian volcanic explosions. But hidden within these rugged folds, a protected menagerie of fascinating native fauna. Birdlife delights the ears as much as the eyes. Small parrots and cockatoos frolic in harmony with their larger, more regal cousins. And in spring, an exhilarating experience of form and colour as the tree-lined hillsides are cloaked in a profusion of flowers. And amongst the speckled combination of colour, the showpiece of the Flinders Ranges, South Australia's floral emblem, the Sturt Desert Pea. The arrival of the steam engine heralded the end of isolation in the outback and the beginning of a new era in Australia's history. Today, the breathtaking journey through the Flinders Ranges along Pitchi Ritchie Pass still follows the tortuous track discovered by drovers in 1853. Rolling on rails laid down more than 100 years ago, this historic steam train recaptures an era of adventure and excitement. A time when the outback of Australia remained a mystery to all but a few brave adventurers. For millions of years, the blazing ball of fire that first created life has drained life from the vast inland areas of South Australia. This unkind, desolate expanse, covering almost 2/3 of the state, is the driest region of Australia. Once an inland ocean, Lake Eyre, the lowest point of the continent, is a huge, glinting, bone-white sea of salt, which rarely fills with water. Ironically, this area of South Australia lies above the world's largest underground water supply, the Great Artesian Basin. Water bubbling up through fissures in the sandstone forms lush oases around natural springs. But as this water flows out across the plains, it's soon swallowed up by the thirsty deserts. It seems inconceivable that anything could survive out here, but it does. On the rare occasion rain falls, desert life thrives, and for a short time, this inhospitable wilderness is transformed into an area of hushed, haunting beauty. Surviving in the outback has always been a challenge. A challenge met when the rail link from Adelaide to Alice Springs was constructed through this arid region. The township of Maree became an important outback junction, servicing the train affectionately known as the Ghan. The station once pulsed with a sea of hopeful faces, many on their first foray into the mysterious deserts of Australia. The trains and people have long since vanished, but the station remains, a silent sentinel, watching over Australia's best known but least used road, the fabled Birdsville Track. The tyranny of distance and desolation has never deterred hardy prospectors in search of wealth and fortune. Mounds of tailings from hundreds of mines litter the sun-drenched mulga and salt-bushed plains surrounding the world's largest opal-producing centre, Coober Pedy. Built on a barren, treeless plain, this outback town is unique. In an environment where the thermometer regularly climbs over 50 degrees centigrade, inhabitants soon realized that the best place to live was underground. Tunneled into the hillside by mine excavating machines, these spacious underground dwellings take advantage of the Earth's natural cooling, remaining at a relatively constant 24 degrees centigrade all year round. The internationally renowned Desert Cave Hotel also offers delighted guests underground living quarters, with many of its palatial rooms, shops and galleries gouged from the surrounding hillside. Even religion has found refuge deep within the earth, with miners' machines creating one of the most unusual yet beautiful churches in the world. From man-made beauty to the beauty of nature's creation and the reason for Coober Pedi's existence, opal. In these original mines, first discovered in 1916, early pioneers struggled in harsh conditions, suffering lack of water, impossible temperatures, and utter isolation. For many, the struggle was pointless, the meager returns not justifying the life energies they forfeited. But for others, fortune shined, the opal glittered and danced before their eyes, and from their toils emerged the greatest opal-producing region of the world. Inside the exotic shops of Coober Pedy, an elegant array of opal jewelry gleams enticingly. Exquisite adornments fashioned from a stone alive with the color and fire of the sun. A sun whose dusk light transforms the featureless plains surrounding this fabulous opal field into a vision of haunting beauty. And, like opal, capturing within it a sense of timelessness. The arid, isolated beauty of the outback is in stark contrast to the refuge offered by South Australia's cooler coastal regions. Set on wooded rolling hills on the tip of Eyre Peninsula, Port Lincoln is surrounded by one of the world's great natural harbours. Overlooking the waters of Boston Bay, this modern-day port is not only the commercial hub of Eyre Peninsula's sheep and grain industry. Its sheltered waters also provide safe haven for Australia's largest tuna fishing fleet. The ever-increasing overseas demand for Port Lincoln's superb seafood has led to imaginative solutions. In the bay, right on the town's doorstep, marine farm enclosures each hold up to 3,000 tuna, guaranteeing a year-round supply of fresh fish for export. Port Lincoln is gateway to a smorgasbord of unforgettable wilderness areas. Lincoln National Park, just 20 kilometers south, is a magnificent region of high, rugged cliffs. Undulating, drifting dunes and secluded sandy coves. Carpets of vivid green create an oasis for chattering bird life and native animals. And in spring, the park blossoms, covering the area with a mesmerizing mantle of brilliant color. Stretching westward from the park, Eyre Peninsula's spectacular 2,000-kilometer coastline offers scenic delights of rare and unheralded beauty. And nestling at the base of Point Labatt, a secluded haven for seals, the only remaining colony on Australia's mainland. South Australia's west coast, a rugged and remote region of astonishing and diverse beauty. Still further west, a vast treeless plain reveals the stark, desiccating effects of the desert sun. Nulla arbor, Latin for no trees, aptly describes the tedium of this terrain. An undistinguished thin blanket of saltbush and bluebush atop a massive limestone slab. In places, the limestone slab has collapsed, creating massive caves, some up to 100 meters wide. These gaping sinkholes offer a tantalizing glimpse of the subterranean passages that exist beneath this waterless surface. The southern border of this featureless plain ends dramatically, its limestone cliffs plunging into the pounding waters of the Great Australian Bight. These vast limestone ramparts form a mighty, forbidding seawall stretching for nearly 200 kilometers, the longest unbroken cliff line in the world. Capped in parts by massive sand dunes, the cliff tops that fringe the eastern end of the Bight provide a protective haven for one of the world's most remarkable natural spectacles. Each year between June and October, the pristine waters at the head of the Bight are filled with the sounds of gentle giants as trumpeting plumes of vapor herald the arrival of the great southern right whales. Traveling over thousands of kilometers from the icy seas of Antarctica, these majestic creatures of the deep have chosen the warmer, sheltered waters of South Australia to give birth and tend their young. Under the protection of the Nullibor's massive cliffs, mothers, like all mothers, patiently pass on the essential skill for survival in this, the world's largest nursery. Where in the world would you expect to witness such an extraordinary phenomenon of nature? Where in the world would you expect to find a place of such diverse and breathtaking beauty? Only in one place, magnificent South Australia.